Well, hello there, how is everyone? I hope you're all well. It's Friday, baby. It's Friday. Thank Crunchy, it's Friday. TAGIFT Friday. It's Friday and I'm excited. You're looking amazing, by the way. You are looking amazing. And yeah, we made it together. Now, two things that I want to, before we get on to the main event of the day, is just cover two things. The first thing is, I'm well aware that there are channels out there who are attacking this channel, attacking me, the name calling, the stuff like that. And I genuinely couldn't give a fuck what any other channel has to say about this channel. Genuinely, I don't care. I do appreciate you guys who are out there and you are policing the YouTube streets and you can see what is happening, but genuinely, these people are like lint to me, so do not worry. Second thing, there was obviously some docs that came out yesterday. It wasn't new docs, it was basically older docs where the period with which they were sealed and redacted, some of that was then made public, so you had a little bit more access to those docs that you did originally, and some people struggled to find them. Some people were under the impression that they weren't on the normal sort of public hub for the Idaho court documents, but they were. You just had to go back up to when they originally were released and go back through them. But there was another thing that was raised through that, and there was a reference made to what it looked like was the Spillman case, and some people have gone off on a massive tangent because there just happens to be a case with that name connected to it that was quite a horrendous case. So you know how it starts, the rumour mill starts, that potentially Bryan Kohberger or someone around this case was involved in that case. That's not it whatsoever. Hold your horses, woe back, tied in. And what that actually is Spillman is a records management system, and what that allows law enforcement to do is when there is a massive case and there is a massive case file, they are just able to insert records into the Spillman case file, and if they need to go back to it and find it later on, they can easily search it and find it. That's what that is. So for those of you who have got Spillman in your mind and you think that someone's gone on a massive rampage and that's connected to Bryan, I can assure you it's not. This is not uncommon. This is something that the US uses massively and openly. It just helps them to manage case files. So that is the Spillman data management system, otherwise known as the Spillman case file. So, let's move on swiftly and get you through your morning coffee. So, what are we talking about? There was some new docs out, and I'm just going to summarise them very, very sort of briefly, because there were some things that were quite interesting. Jules over at Jules of All Trades, she went through the documents more thoroughly, if you like. And if you do want to actually see those documents and see someone go through them, obviously you've got Jules as an option, but I'm just going to do a brief summary because it's Friday, and yeah, we know what Friday's all about. It's about getting on with it, isn't it? And I hear you say now, well, bloody get on with it then. So look, there was some search files, and what they're basically doing, it would appear to me that they are trawling through, and just normal, they're trawling through all of online purchasing, so on and so forth, regarding trying to likely hunt for knives, sheaths, and all of those sort of things that could have been used in connection with this crime. Every single thing. So they are approaching the likes of Amazon, they're approaching the likes of Target, all of these places that someone would likely go in order to buy these sort of things and get every reference what they can. Now, Jules raised a valid point, and this is to do with the dates. And what I suppose what Jules was trying to say was, look, when you compare when the searches were going in and when the data would have been coming back from them searches, some of this would not have been back in time for the grand jury to have been handed everything, for them to have their deliberations and then go through the process, which we know was a few days, and then come with an outcome. So it almost leaves you to the question of, so what did, at the point with which the grand jury was pulled together, and they went through their deliberations, what exactly were they deliberating? What information did they have access to at that point? Because it would appear through the documentation that there isn't a lot of information that they would have had. And this could very well be why Ann Taylor, Bryan Kohberger, and the defence is questioning the grand jury situation. Because if there wasn't enough in order for them to get to this point, then quite rightly they should squash the whole thing, quash it, get rid of it, and at the very least go back to and reset to the planned preliminary hearing. So they can go to this preliminary hearing and go through what should have happened in the first place, because it would seem, in my eyes, and I'm a sceptical person, and that is that it would appear that they were just trying to get the preliminary hearing off the table because they knew that was weak, but they could control to a degree the grand jury if the grand jury was biased. And that seems to be what is going on with this entire situation. What it would appear Ann Taylor is pushing for is, look, there isn't enough evidence for us to be sitting in this position right now. There just isn't. And if we'd have gone down the route of a preliminary hearing, we wouldn't be here, because you don't have enough evidence to put us here. But the fact that you went with a grand jury, and I'm guessing you still didn't have enough information, and there still weren't enough to put us here, that grand jury was biased in nature. So this is why Ann Taylor has been request and discovery, 7 times, by the way, because there just isn't anything. There would appear that there isn't anything. And what you're now seeing is the scrabbling around trying to find stuff. And they're literally looking everywhere, every single place. Now, Jules did make another valid point, and that is that we see court documents and we are conditioned to believe that when there are redactions, when there are things that are missing and exempt in files, we jump to a conclusion. We jump to a decision. So we'll see something like the case files, the searches, it's Amazon, it's this, it's that, and the other. We automatically think, well, because it's there, because of the prosecution, that must be Bryan Kohberger that they're searching for, and we don't know that. We must try and understand that the only evidence we have that proves anything of anyone is when it has their name attached to it, and that is a factual piece of information. So we found X of something at X of place, and that was connected to X person. And we don't have a lot of that whatsoever. And now, I did a video yesterday and we touched on things like the car and the fact that the car is not concrete that it's Bryan Kohberger. The car isn't even concrete that belonged to the person who committed this crime. I would go on as much to say as it's not concrete that the time between 4 o'clock and 4:20 is when this took place even. We don't know that. All we know is that Dylan Mortensen saw somebody, apparently, or said that she saw somebody leave at what they're trying to tie into the leaving of the white Hyundai Elantra, because she obviously didn't see someone and go, right, what's the time? Right, 17 minutes past 4, noted, and then they've seen the car go. Now, unless she saw somebody beforehand, unless she saw somebody afterwards in the house, she doesn't even know what happened. The people inside this house, if she didn't hear, see, done anything, what people can't understand is the people inside that house could have been long deceased. They could have been deceased an hour before, and there could have been the phones left on the side. I don't know. I don't, I've got no answers for it. Yes, there was a DoorDash order placed, but somebody else could have placed that order. Now, I know I'm jumping down rabbit holes and I don't want to do that. Point being, we have been conditioned to believe certain things happen at certain times, certain things belong to certain people, and certain things happen a certain way. And we just don't have the absolute concrete proof of that. We don't have it. We simply don't. And until we do, I feel that we've got to get over our nature. And I'm going to do a video later on today, and it's going to be about Bryan Kohberger and specifically why it's important that some people do reach out and they do try and support people in this situation. It's not ideal. It's not something that some people are going to feel comfortable with, but there is a fundamental reason for doing it. But like I say, new docs. This was about new docs. Yes, there's new docs. It does just go over the fact that they are hunting for everything. They're hunting for everything, and they are hunting for stuff because they don't have stuff. And I would bet my bollocks to a barn dance that these searchers likely brought up nothing. Like every other search. The search of the car, nothing. The search of apartments, nothing. The search of parents' homes, nothing. We have an absolute whitewash of nothingness. And look, attack me. Tell me down in the comments why I'm wrong. You know, I know some people read into certain parts of the evidence, like about the car, like about the knife sheath, and they consider it a slam dunk, and that's your prerogative. But for me, circumstantial at best, and the more that these documents come out, and the more that you see people scrabbling around trying to find this, trying to find that, and seemingly struggling to find what they need, and Ann Taylor coming out and saying that there's just no connection, there's no nothing, and, you know, people are going as far as saying, well, she's lying then. She's not lying, trust me. She doesn't need to lie. This is the biggest case of her entire career, and the whole fucking world is watching. She ain't lying. She ain't lying. But you will all have your opinions, and you're all welcome to them. And everybody is welcome to their opinion over here, as long as you keep it adult. Don't be a dick. But until video 2 later, enjoy some of your flipping Friday, and I will catch you all in the next one.